When you think of reading and writing, what comes to mind? Perhaps it's a book that you flipped through at school or a grocery list scribbled on a piece of paper. Maybe you think of letters or numbers or symbols. Hi, I'm Dr. Smiti Nathan, and I'm an archaeologist. In this video, we're going to explore an Andean artifact that expands our definition of what counts as reading and writing. These are the Collata Khipus. They were originally found in the remote village of San Juan de Collata in Peru, where they remain today. They are slightly different than other known Khipus. So before we talk about this specific artifact, let's talk about Khipus more generally. Khipu comes from the Quechua word for knot. Quechua is an indigenous language of Peru that is also spoken in other Andean countries. Khipus are also referred to as talking knots. Khipus were used to record information by the Incan Empire, which was centered in the Andes Mountains. These objects were typically made from strung threads or strings. They were often made from cotton or animal hair like llama and alpaca. Each Khipu had a top horizontal cord. Additional color cords hung off of it. These strung cords were dyed from various materials such as indigo dye and cochineal insects. Knots of various types with various distances between them were tied using the colored cords. Spanish historical documents indicate quipus were used to record and send information throughout the Incan Empire. For example, it seems that some quipus recorded information about countable things, like the identity and characteristics of an object or population. This was recorded by the color of the strings, types of knots, and distance between the knots. The Incan counting system recorded on quipus was based on a decimal system. Knots located along the lengths of cords represented single units or tens of thousands of units. Other quipus were used to record information about communities over long periods of time, similar to a calendar. Only approximately 923 quipus survive today, so they're an illuminating and rare source of information on the Incan Empire. Today, the Khipu database documents the existing quipus around the world. In addition, the newer Khipu Field Guide offers broader documentation as well as visuals, cleaned-up databases, and more. Until recently, scholars believed that the tradition of creating and interpreting quipus had died out after the Spanish conquest of 1532. However, some communities of people continued this practice into the early 20th century, including in the village of Collata. The Collata Khipus are changing what we know about quipu creation and usage. Beyond recording numbers and quantitative information, the Collata Khipus narrated events. Local community members told researchers Dr. Sabine Hyland and William Hyland that these quipus are like a letter. They recounted an Incan rebellion against the Spanish in the 18th century. The Collata Khipus have over 200 pendant cords in a large range of colors tied to a top cord. These pendant cords are approximately a foot in length and are organized into irregular groups by cloth ribbons tied to the top cord. Hairs of 6 different Andean animals, including vicuña, deer, alpaca, llama, guanaco, and vizcacha, were identified in these quipus. Both quipus have a few knots or none and have objects tied to them. An important part of interpreting these quipus comes from touching them. For example, the feeling of the difference between soft and hard fibers that may resemble one another in color is part of understanding what the quipu is communicating. The Collata Khipus have expanded our understanding of what quipus recorded. They also help us reflect on the senses that we use, both in the past and present, to read and write. This video is part of our Artifact of the Day series, where we take a quick look at an intriguing object from the past. If you're interested in watching another Artifact of the Day video, check out the video here.